Hello everybody. I haven't really done a video about like a One Piece kind of theory in a way in a while. And this isn't really a theory. It's just I just want to get my thoughts on this because when I make the Dressrosa review, it's going to be long. My guess is the first part's going to be probably around 16 minutes or something like that. I still haven't finished. Like I said, I'm at 790 something, 790. 96? Yeah. So after Kaido shows up, which was Beasley. um, so the point of me making this video is that Sabo, his introduction was cool, but it made zero sense. So, I think the Amnesia thing didn't need to happen. I hope that we never see Amnesia again. Like, please, no. Um, Yeah, so I think the amnesia thing can be done really quickly, can be, done over. The way you would just kind of do a better reshaping of the amnesia is that I think from the very beginning, like several chapters ago, we could have saw Ace and Sabo. We don't actually see Ace, right? We don't actually see Sabo, but this is between when Ace was in Alabasta, and this was in between when we saw him fight Blackbeard. And so I'm thinking this is I'm trying to think of when this could be. Um, I guess ideally it would be before, because it was Thriller Bark that we saw that. So I guess what you could do is in between Sky Island and yeah, right after Sky Island, because we've got a cover story about him. So if you get a cover story leading into this, and then you saw we get it could be like a few chapters, but if we saw Sabo, it's a silhouette of some guy, that looked like Charles Dickens' character. It'd be like, whoa, who's this guy? But we don't actually hear about him. We don't see his name. We don't hear anything. We just see Ace, kind of on a journey, and then all of a sudden he hears his name, and he's like, no way, it could be you. And then we see the Straw Hats kind of going towards Water 7, blah, blah, blah. So the same things play out, but then Ace and Sabo have a moment, and like, I don't know, whatever island that they're in, and then they kind of like, they're sharing beer or whatever, and like Ace is crying, like Ace, he, you don't see him crying, but we see him kind of look like he's crying, so we know this guy is important and whatever, and then we just kind of see him just walk away, and we don't see anything. He just does that, so I'm like, oh yeah, we'll see you, there, and he doesn't say he doesn't mention Luffy because that would be too revealing, but he does say like, I hope he's doing okay. So it's like he. So then people could have made theories about that, like who's this guy and what is he talking about with Ace, and then we see Ace with Blackbeard. It would have been more organic because I would have felt more, and I also wish we could have got Ace's flashback within Marineford. Like, remember when he was on that scaffolding and you kind of remembered some of the stuff, but then, like, it went into his mom and all that. Like, honestly, I know it would have detracted from it, but, or at some point in Marineford when Ace is just looking on, and he's, somebody mentioned Sabo or Garp shows up, something like that. I think we were already going to see Sabo in post Marineford. It wouldn't have taken that away. It would have slowed the action down, which is the only problem, really. But the thing is, there wasn't a shitload of action anyways. There was, but there wasn't like fights. So that's what's kind of frustrating. Um, oh, this is gonna be a longer video than I thought it was. But anyways, I think I need to establish this first. So I think Ace is this flashback with Sabo. So then we know who Sabo is. He kind of looks like that Charles Dickens guy, but he wasn't wearing his hat when he was talking to Ace. So he just kind of looks similar, but not really. Then we actually know who Sabo is. We don't just need to name drop people with the Luffy. We get more of an impact with this. We've seen Ace more. Everyone would bawl if they knew his backstory leading up to his death. I actually cried in the anime for his death, the YouTube clip anyway. So, and I didn't actually see his backstory at that point. So that's pretty significant. Um, And yeah, I also wish that we saw Ace. I know I've been talking a lot about Ace, but this established Sabo more too. I wish we saw him kind of mention, maybe not a third brother, but mention like, oh yeah, remember we were kids and blah blah blah, and like kind of see like a little bit of that in Alabasta, and he helps him, like Sabo helps him, and like Ace fights some Baroque works guy. I don't know if it's like taking away from the Straw Hats fight, but just somebody like kind of blocking him or something like that. I think that would have just flushed out Ace's character and just pushed us right into Sabo. And then when Sabo shows up dressed Rosa, I think it would make a lot of sense for Amnesia wise, anyways, to not have that at all. We don't need it. I think the reason why he didn't show up at Marineford could have been that he was actually severely wounded and like messed up by CP0 and CP9, and like Dragon sent him on a certain mission to do. It doesn't really matter what it was, to be honest. I know that, like, because if anything, that actually adds to the mystery. But and Sabo's, he's 600. He's a top tier guy. They could probably fight 600 people at the same time, kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like, and especially now he has Mara no Mi. So I don't understand why it wouldn't be. If anything, it would help us understand the CP units, like a shitload of the CP units, assassins like going after Sabo, especially like Rob Lucci, who like learned arm in hockey, or I don't know, something along those lines, where we see like seriously Sabo getting fucked up, and not only that, like citizens were shooting at him, and like all this other stuff was happening, and so like he was so focused on this. And because the CP units weren't in Marineford, so it makes sense that maybe they were like having tabs on the revolutionaries, like damn, like all this. So he couldn't get there. And maybe he does get there like Shanks, but he gets him by himself, gets there, but after the fact. And like he meets up on like that one island, and it calms Luffy down. Instead of him going ballistic, he sees Sabo. He's like, but I wasn't able to do that. And like the impact of them seeing each other, we seeing it like 100%. Like the anime did a great job, Dressrosa, but that whole break in between felt a little weird and conjuncted. I mean, I didn't mind it. It was great, but it could have been better. And I think it's really pretty simple to do. But if you establish him as a more grounded character, and you gave a reason, like he was on a mission, like in the new world, and like getting to the new world to here. I mean, Shanks did it, but I think Shanks, like I said, I think his hockey has something to do with space and being able to move really, really quickly. And I think maybe it exhausted him, but he was able to move really quickly. But Sabo had to deal with CP units and getting there, and like all sorts of, like, there's pirates that were ready to fight him because they're like, oh, Whitebeard's dead, Whitebeard's gonna die anyways, that kind of thing. So I definitely think Sabo could have benefited from something like that, instead of just like, oh, well, I had amnesia. I think emotionally it still would have been just as impactful. I think it just would have been too impactful. We would have not had post Marineford. Post Marineford would have happened, so I guess just would have been really, really short, which don't mind, because that was already a really depressing arc. So yeah, I think that's the best way to really change that. So I don't know if you like it, but see you till next time.